Hi everyone! Welcome back to Yarn Creations. I'm Crystal. In this video, I decided that I wanted to talk to you guys about my top 4 points when it comes to tension. I just wanted to touch base on it. I know a lot of people have questions, about tension and what is it exactly and how do you, gauge your tension and just questions like that. So I thought I would give you my top 4. So I'm going to start off by talking about what is tension in crochet. So tension in crochet is the tightness of the yarn for each stitch. So it depends on the pattern, the hook that you're using, how you hold your yarn. There's lots of different variables on how you get the perfect tension, and not everyone is going to be perfect either. So I mean, sometimes it means that you need to adjust your hook size if you crochet too tight or too loose. So that's number 1. Number 2, how important is tension in your project? So if you're following a pattern, it can be very important. Most pattern writers will indicate a swatch size. So this is just where they'll actually do a sample of the pattern or of the stitches that it uses in like a 4x4 square, and then they take a measurement of it based on the hook size that they are using. So then what you would normally do, I don't do a lot of samples most of the time or swatches, I just kind of run with it and hope that my tension isn't too far off from them. And that's not something that I'm advising anyone to do, because you could get yourself into trouble. But so after doing that, you can kind of determine whether or not you may need to increase or decrease your hook size, like I mentioned previously. So if a pattern writer said they used a 6, and when you use a 6 and do your sample swatch, and it actually ends up being bigger than what they indicated, then you probably need to decrease your hook size, because it sounds like you would be more of you would have more loose tension when you crochet. Okay, so number 3 is the state of your yarn. I also find that to be very important as well. So if you're just using like a skein of yarn, I would use the middle pull. You're less likely to have anything tangling. But I also, or even if you're using a ball, I would unravel quite a few, I would pull out yarn, because you don't want your yarn being blocked by anything. You don't want anything weighing on it. And sometimes if you're working with a skein and you're using the middle pull, sometimes the weight around it can also, kind of affect your tension and how you move along when you're crocheting. So just making sure that your yarn is clear of tangles and it's free, it's loose, so that as you're using your hands to pull the yarn along while you're crocheting, you're not going to run into any kind of, anything that's going to hinder the tension of your yarn. And then tip number 4 that I have for you is how you hold your yarn. So I'm just going to quickly show you how I hold mine. So here's a disclaimer. Everybody is going to hold their yarn differently. And teaching someone how to hold their yarn is not always easy. It kind of just comes with practice. So as you can see, what I do here, and this is, again, not how everybody else does it. I don't know how, you watch different people all the time, and that's why I kind of like to do these videos, so I can kind of throw in my technique as well, because it might help somebody. So I actually wind my yarn around quite a few of my fingers, and I don't even realize that I actually do it that way until, making a video like this, and I'm going, oh, I didn't really realize that I do that. So for me, my tension is all with this finger right here, but this is all loose down here. And like I said, you're going to see that my tail, because I've pulled some of that yarn off of that ball. So I have this loose yarn here that's not being weighed down by anything. So I use this as my tension. So this finger is actually what's pulling it and making it tighter. And then as I'm making a chain, I just kind of, you know, guide it through. So I'm using my hook to pull it, but at the same time there is some tightness there. Now I will say that for me, when I am crocheting like blankets or beanies, dishcloths, face scrubbies, stuff like that, I know that I tend to crochet a little bit looser. But if I'm doing something that's like amigurumi, I probably butchered that, I can never pronounce it properly, like stuffed toys, I know that my tension, I really tend to go, I pull on this a little bit tighter than I normally would, just because, you know, you're making a stuffed toy and it's going to be stuffed and you kind of want your stitches to be close together. So I do kind of adjust my tension when I am doing something like that. But I mean, for the most part, it's not overly tight. But again, this comes with practice, how your tension is determined. So the one thing is just to not be discouraged, and just, you'll find your own kind of way of holding your yarn and guiding that hook through to make those stitches. So that is my 4 tips when it comes to tension. So I hope you enjoyed this quick little video, and I will be back again soon.